Good morning. It's Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Ariana Newcomer, coming to you from the south coast of Massachusetts today. I'm here on my mother's screened-in porch, and you can see how the humidity here has affected my hair. And I'm not doing makeup today. It's like I'm on vacation. Not going to do it. And I'm talking to you today about feeling comfortable and feeling safe. This came up when I was working with a client the other day around her ability to speak up and use her voice and really be her authentic self through her voice. And she was talking about feeling comfortable and wanting to feel comfortable when speaking up. And for her, these were situations sometimes in her family, talking with parents, sometimes talking with even with friends about an issue that was very triggering for her. And then in her work, in her ability to actually speak up to superiors, to seniors in her organization. And it just evolved, it came about in our conversation that she equated feeling safe with feeling comfortable. So I coached her on this idea that actually when we're speaking up, very often it is uncomfortable because we have such training in being silent, in being nice, and putting other people's needs before our own. If there has been some kind of abuse in our history, there was literally the literal not being safe at speaking up. You would get hit, you would get abused again, you would get threatened with something very serious. One of my clients, even who had been abused, her abuser threatened to kill her dog if she said anything. And some children have been threatened with death themselves for saying anything. And so then it really isn't safe to speak up and speak out. Yet as we come into adulthood, we're in a different place, and yet those tender inner children, those tender inner parts can still be driving the way that we respond in these situations. So I was really encouraging her to realize that in order to speak up, she doesn't have to feel comfortable. And a lot of the times when we are speaking up about something that is difficult, or it's in a conflict situation, it isn't going to be comfortable. So that wanting to be comfortable before we speak up is actually going to stop us from speaking up. And this ties into what I talked about in last week's Wisdom Wednesdays, the silence of men, and the article by the man who had decided he was going to speak up against misogyny, demeaning language of women, nasty joking about women amongst men as a kind of false idea of male bonding. And he realized that his silence made him complicit, so that even if he didn't agree, he was complicit in maintaining that culture of demeaning, demonizing, silencing, shaming women amongst men. And so let's take some deep breaths. Now I just took a breath away. I tell my clients not to. Now, notice how my shoulders went up. So I am always an advocate for belly breathing. So let's breathe down into our bellies. And that's where often we're going to feel this discomfort, is in our gut. Our gut is going to go, and our inner child may go, no, we can't speak up. It's not safe. And yet the adult who we are now can very lovingly say to the inner child, I am going to speak up. And it's not your job anymore. I'm the one, the adult one, who is speaking up. You don't even actually need to be in this conversation. This is also something that I recommend that was taught to me in some of the inner child work that I've done. Tell your inner child they can go somewhere else. They can go play outside. They can go to their room. They can go read a book in their imagination. Of course, we're using our imagination. That's a very useful way to allow that tender inner child to be accepted, to be acknowledged, to be heard, and yet not to run the show or not to drive the car, as I like to say. We can also put our inner child in the back seat, in the car seat, and the adult is driving the car of our life, of our conversations. So I strongly recommend that you stop looking for feeling comfortable before speaking up. They're not, being comfortable and being safe are not the same. And the truth is, oftentimes, if we don't speak up, we're actually at greater risk for something bad happening than if we do speak up at this point in our lives. So it's really important for our own health and well-being to speak up, so we're not constantly stuffing things and getting ill like I did with acid reflux many years ago, and in my toxic marriage. And it's really important for our continued growth. And another truth is that the more we speak up out of that discomfort, okay, I'm uncomfortable and I'm going to speak up, the more we learn and the more comfortable we eventually become with it. But it doesn't work the other way. It doesn't work to be comfortable first and then speak up. So let's decouple feeling comfortable with being safe. We often make ourselves more safe by actually speaking up, and speaking up for ourselves, claiming our space, claiming our power, setting our boundaries, saying no instead of yes when we mean no, when we really want to say no. We do ourselves no favors to look for that feeling, stay in that feeling of comfort, and use that as a reason not to speak up. So go out and play, take deep breaths into the belly, and practice speaking up when you are not comfortable. And it will become more comfortable over time. And I don't say that it will ever become always completely comfortable. But it's important to use our voices even though we are not comfortable. That's how we grow, that's how we learn, that's how we speak our authentic selves into the world. I'd be happy to help you do this. I'll pop a message link into the comments so that if you want to book a time to talk with me about opening up your authentic voice and how to deal with that discomfort and speak at the same time, you can book a time to talk with me. See you next time.